Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com geeking out with you today over the iPhone 6s. Now, I did my review of the iPhone 6s later than everybody else because I wanted to do a detailed and honest review having used the phone in the real world for a month. This phone has gone everywhere with me. I use this phone to take 4K video footage in Times Square, late at night in low light situations. I used it shooting all day at museums like the Brooklyn Museum of Art and the Metropolitan Museum in Manhattan. This has been on different adventures with me and road trips, and I'm actually getting ready to go on a flight with it. And this phone has been great. It's been fantastic, but it's not without its issues. I will tell you that actually, the first few days that I was using this phone, if you were watching my Periscope live streams where I was talking about my experiences with it, the first couple of days I had some issues with it. There was a point where it actually wouldn't boot up, and I had to emergency boot it using the power button and the home button at the same time just to get the phone to power on, and that happened twice. It hasn't happened since then, and that was the first week, but that was actually very scary for me with this phone since it was a brand new phone. Now, I'm not a big iPhone user per se. My only other iPhone that I've had is the iPhone 4S. So this was a new experience for me as far as having a brand new iPhone, and I am very impressed with it overall. The screen is beautiful. One of the things I really love about this is how fast the new Touch ID is. That is amazing. I had Touch ID with my iPad Air 2, which I got as soon as that came out last November, October. And the Touch ID on this is a lot more responsive. It's faster. I would even argue that it might be too fast because when I was trying to actually demo some stuff in screen record, it wasn't actually something where I could show you guys my home screen and my lock screen very easily just because of how quickly this would just jump right into the phone. So, the hack for that is just use a finger that you haven't put fingerprint ID on and you'll be fine there. So that's pretty cool. I love the new camera. The new camera is stunning. This camera is the main reason I bought this phone. It's got amazing dynamic range. It has 4K video capability. I've done a sample of that for you guys to check out. I showed you an art demonstration that I was watching in Times Square, and that was amazing. It was beautiful. I do like the overall image quality for the camera. My Instagram feed, I've been blowing that up with the amazing shots that this phone can take, and it can handle doing great shots in low light situations. You do get a little bit more grain there, but overall, it's fantastic. I love the color representation. The selfies from the Retina flash are a big feature that I really like in this phone. This has gotten some of the best selfie pics that I've ever taken, and if that's something that you're a big fan of, you'll really enjoy this phone. What they're doing is they're using the screen as a Retina flash, and that's helping you get much better lighting on your selfies, so I really enjoy that. The front-facing camera is something I've been taking advantage of for my live streaming. It is giving me some of the most clear quality Periscope and Meerkat live streams that I've ever done, and a lot of people have complimented me on it. It is a big deal. So if you're interested in live streaming and doing things like Periscope and Meerkat and Blab, this phone is actually going to be really good for that sort of thing because of the camera. Something that's a little different on this phone is the fact that the audio jack is on the bottom. That's something new that they're doing with the iPhones, and just depending on what you're used to and how your accessories work, that may or may not be an issue for you. The build quality on this is amazing. I love how it looks. I love how it feels. It is thicker than the iPhone 6 that I've seen from my friends, so you have to be careful about your cases. My Fibonacci wallet case, which I'll be doing a review on soon, fits just fine for this, and it will fit for the iPhone 6 as well. So that's what I'm using. There are some other cases that you can get that are compatible with this that you can move over from your 6 if you happen to have that. Going back to one of the things with the camera though, this does not have the in-camera stabilization that the iPhone 6s Plus has. That would be one of the big reasons I would say to buy that besides the bigger screen and the display. But I bought this phone specifically because of the form factor and the fact that I am a smaller guy, so I wanted something that'd be very comfortable in my hand that I can use with just one hand and that I can control easily. So that's something that I was really interested in. In terms of new features, 3D Touch is actually pretty cool. Initially, I thought this was a gimmick, and I will say that live photos, in my opinion, is a huge gimmick. It's a gimmick and everyone knows it. But what I will say about the 3D Touch is I like the ability to peek at things. I like being able to pop things out on the screen. That's very cool. I like that I can get to other apps just by pressing in a little harder and then scrolling through. So that's very comfortable to me, and it's very intuitive, and I do like that feature. If you had previous iPhones you will be familiar with what this phone is doing. It's not doing things that are overly or dramatically different outside of 3D touch and the new camera capabilities. As far as 4K video, those are features that I'm very interested in. But overall, I do enjoy this phone. I will say that the battery life is really good overall, but it's not what I was expecting in terms of battery life, and it really depends on what you're doing. If you have a certain number of applications running, or if you're using location features, your battery can drain a lot more quickly, especially if you're shooting a lot of video. But I was able, without having to recharge, to get hundreds upon hundreds of photos and videos throughout the museum tours that I was doing, so that was a lot of fun. And I think that this will last most of you throughout a regular business day, as long as you're not overdoing it. So I think that those things are pretty cool. The build quality, again, it's solid. It's very comfortable. They're using a new type of aluminum from what they've previously used, and I will say that it's slightly heavier from what I've heard and from what I've experienced from the iPhone 6. Even though I didn't own that phone, I've used it before from friends, and I will say this is slightly heavier, but it's not super noticeable. I went with Space Gray because that's also what I use for my iPad Air 2, and I like how it matches up with my iMac. So that's a lot of fun for me to just make sure that I have everything matching, because as a designer, I kind of care about those things. The iOS 9 experience has been pretty cool overall. I'm looking forward to what they do with more updates with that. I want them to take more advantage of what 3D touch might be able to do. I think that this is something that is new for them that they're really going to build on in the future. So while 3D touch might not have a lot of practical applications right now besides peeking and popping out stuff, I think that in the future they will do a lot more with this. And I think that in terms of productivity, it's not a huge time savings, but it might be convenient. So just, take that for what it is. Overall, I have no major complaints about this phone. The main thing that I will say is I had to get the 64 gig version as my entry level. I don't believe that 16 gigs is enough because the operating system takes up like 8 gigs by itself, so you'd already be losing half there. I made the mistake with my iPad Air 2 of getting a 16 gig version when I should have just went with a 64 or the 128. If the iPad Air 3 ever releases, that's probably what I'll do, is I'll probably just go ahead and max out from now on 128 gigs there. The next time the iPhone 7s comes out, I will probably get 128 gigs there as well. So I would recommend that you use 64 gigs as your minimum, since you can't put in another memory card for storage here. I do take advantage of iCloud, and that does help me with the photo and video side of things. It does also help me with backing up both this and my iPad Air 2. I would say take advantage of that. iCloud for 200 gigs is $199. It's not bad. Alternatively, you can try syncing things up with Dropbox. I just like using the iCloud for these particular devices, specifically so that I can back things up and make things easy to move over from my iPhone 4S to my 6S when I wanted to do that. So that's something that I take advantage of. Now, I am still using my Samsung Galaxy S3 for my other line. That's something that I continue to do. At some point, I'll probably upgrade that either to another Samsung Galaxy new model or a 4G phone from LG of some kind. So, I'll do that. The call quality on this phone is tremendous, but it does not work with all of your Bluetooth accessories. I have a Plantronics Bluetooth headset that is not compatible with, even though the 4S was compatible with it. So you might want to just look into Bluetooth compatibility for your accessories, because that could be a problem. Some of you, it may or may not work with your selfie sticks. So again, just read up on that. There might be some updates that allow your hardware to work with the 6S. It is a newer phone, so that's something that I want you to keep in mind. And with that, that is my honest review of the iPhone 6S. It does amazing photos, it does tremendous videos, and is a great overall user experience. The call quality on the phone is fine. Battery life, it can go either way on that, just depending on how you are using it. So just keep all those things in mind, take it with a grain of salt. It is a beautiful phone, it feels very comfortable. I'm very happy with it overall. I will give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I normally don't do that, but the experience of using this phone is one of the best phone experiences I've ever had. Now, I do think that if I had a Samsung Galaxy 6 Edge, I'd probably have a very similar opinion of it. From what I've seen, that's a tremendous phone. So if you're not an Apple fan for whatever reason, or you feel that you need to be in the Android space, then I would recommend that phone as well. I also have been playing with my friend Gerald's Samsung Galaxy Note 5, and I think that that does amazing things as well. and the photo and video quality that I've seen from that is comparable to the iPhone 6s and the 6s Plus. So those are just some alternatives to keep in mind, but again, I'm happy with my choice. I'm happy with the iPhone 6s, and again, this phone has been great as far as taking photos, which is the big thing I want to do with it, and taking video. I do have plans to do some short films exclusively with the iPhone 6s to really show off what this can do. So that's my review of the phone. If you have questions, leave those in the comment section. I'll try and answer as many of them as I can. Also, in the description, check out my accessory list for the iPhone 6s. I have some recommendations there for cases you can get, maybe some extra lenses you can clip on, just different things like that. All right, anyway, like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content on the channel. As always, you guys, thanks so much for watching and geeking out with me over the new iPhone 6s.